Hello. Today we will talk about one of the most expensive meats, marbled beef. On sale there are elite pieces, from Japan, which cost from $260 to $620 per kilogram. And although an ordinary person is unlikely to be able to taste such meat, we will tell you why it is so expensive. It is said that these cows are massaged and give them listen to classical music to ensure the tenderness of the meat. Let's try to figure it out. Here is Wagyu beef, one of the most expensive meats in the world, produced in Japan and prized for its rich, marbled appearance and buttery taste. Even for the Japanese themselves, this delicacy is not for every day. For such 3 slices of beef weighing 160 grams, you will have to pay $100. On average, high-quality Wagyu beef in Japan can cost up to $400 per kilogram, and cows themselves can sell for up to $30,000. But what really makes this meat so expensive? The term Wagyu literally translates to Japanese cow and usually refers to 4 main breeds. These breeds are black, brown, hornless and Japanese shorthorn. All of these breeds are bred in Japan, which is where the authentic Wagyu beef comes from. There are about 3 million heads of beef cows in Japan. More than 96% of the livestock account for the Japanese black breed. These cows are distinguished by a genetic predisposition to intense marbling and a high content of unsaturated fats. They were bred for high physical endurance, which gave them more intramuscular fat cells. Fat is distributed more evenly throughout the muscles, which is why Wagyu beef looks pink and has a very delicate taste. The Japanese government tightly regulates Wagyu production to protect the value and quality of the meat. There are quite a few brands of Wagyu beef in Japan. It is evaluated by 2 main factors: the amount of meat obtained and the quality of marbled fat. Only marbled beef with A3 to A5 certification is used for sale in Japan. And here the higher the class, the higher the price. In order to see how beef marbling is evaluated, you should go to a meat processing plant in the city of Yonezawa in Yamagata Prefecture. Employees take the branding of their products seriously. About 3 tons of Kuroge Wagyu beef are sold each year under the brand name Yonezawa beef. After the initial inspection, the carcasses are branded. An incision is made and the marbling of the meat is checked. On all carcasses, it is done in the same place in order to get a general idea of the meat. Beef inspectors must first decide whether meat belongs to category A, B or C. It is determined by the ratio of the amount of meat to the actual weight of the carcass. Categories are considered: A 72% and above, B 69% and above, C below 69%. The marbling is then rated according to the beef marbling standard from 1 to 5. As you can see, as the marbling or fat content increases, so does the quality of the product. Thus, the higher the marbling, the better the juiciness, tenderness, flavor and texture of the beef will be. The more pleasure a person will receive from such food. The coveted Yonezawa beef brand receives only A4 and A5 grade products. The A4 marbling is well balanced, with enough red meat to be chewed well, blending with the fat in the mouth. The A5 format is more intense. Its marbling is balanced between red meat and fat, making it pink. Studies show that this meat has a high content of monounsaturated fatty acids omega-3 and 6, which are necessary for a person. Fatty acids help lower cholesterol levels in the body. The A5 stamp is the highest rank in Japan and is also stamped Yonezawa Wagyu at the factory. Few people buy a whole beef carcass, so at the meat processing plant they divide it into sections, which is much more convenient for distributors. This is a rather laborious work done with the help of special tools and knives. Cleaning and butchering is carried out here with great precision, because the workers understand that Yonezawa beef is a brand that represents their region. After cutting, the beef is placed in bags, which are placed in a clamshell vacuum shrink wrapper. The meat is then dipped in hot water to tighten the wrap around the beef. Ice water freezes this process, providing the block of meat with good protection and conservation. Packages are labeled, after which they are ready to be sent to restaurants or distribution centers. Wagyu beef has acquired an almost legendary status, and as such, there are many myths about Wagyu farms and how animals are treated, from daily massages to being fed beer. Cow rearing conditions vary in each region, and different farmers breed differently. One thing becomes clear, that the farmers take great care of their charges. So one of the farms contains 1,250 heads of cattle. They are protected from snow and freezing temperatures. There is practically no smell of manure in the barn, only the hum of fans and the smell of fresh hay are heard. Each cow is endowed with a 10-digit number, by which you can track her entire pedigree over several generations. All information is stored in a computer database. The calves are kept warm by heat lamps. They are very cute and curious. His mother is nearby. Cows on such farms lead a carefree life. They love to be groomed and massaged, therefore, they are all clean and well groomed. Farmers have an individual approach to calves. The owner knows almost each of them by sight. He grows them as carefully as a pet. They are given a massage to smooth out the marble pattern, and they are sometimes given beer to appetize. The Japanese joke that many people would not refuse such a life that these cows lead. Cows are fed hay, straw, rice and corn. Here they prepare mixtures of oats, oatmeal and corn. Dried corn in granules is used, which is probably the most protein. This helps to effectively increase the volume of meat in cows. Definitely cows like this kind of food. This is a stress-free environment for Wagyu production. There are only 2 animals in the corral. They are not cramped here. There is a lot of fresh air and sun. Just the perfect place. It can be said that this is a 5-star hotel for animals. And all this so that they become first-class beef. Today, these black Wagyu bulls will give their lives for gourmets. They are more prone to the accumulation of intramuscular marble fat, white, which is very different from the usual subcutaneous, yellow. Often, a breeder raises cows until they are about 10 months old and then auctions them off to a fattening farmer. By the time the calves are sold at auction, they may already be worth 40 times more than American cattle. The fattening farm will keep the animals in small pens and feed them a mixture of fiber and a high-calorie concentrate of rice, wheat and hay. These mixtures are fed to animals 3 times a day for almost 2 years, until the animals become almost 50% fatter. Only pregnant cows and breeding stock can graze on the pasture. The duration of the fattening process, as well as high prices for a huge amount of concentrated feed, increase the cost of beef. Because during the fattening period each lead cow eats 5 tons of feed. By the time a cow is ready to be auctioned off, its price rises to $30,000. In comparison, the Black Aberdeen Angus breed, which is considered the best in countries such as the US, Canada, Argentina and Australia, usually sells for no more than $3,000. Therefore, the price of Wagyu beef, depending on the type, goes off scale. Usually the overall goal of farmers is to obtain high-quality marble beef, but approaches to this vary depending on the farm and the area where the cattle are raised. Although there are over 300 varieties of Wagyu, the most famous cuts come from 10 Japanese regions. One of the most expensive cuts is Matsusaka Wagyu from Mie Prefecture. It is prepared exclusively from young heifers and is highly valued for its tenderness. In 2002, one Matsusaka cow was sold for 50 million yen, or about $400,000. However, the most famous cut of Wagyu is Kobe beef. which is produced in the city of Kobe in Kyoto Prefecture and is made exclusively from young bulls or castrated bulls. Kobe is often seen on menus in American restaurants, but customers should be wary of dishes such as Kobe burgers, as real Kobe beef is too tender to be made into a patty. In fact, several US restaurants serve hybrid Wagyu beef from local Wagyu and Angus cows. Shabu shabu is a popular dish in Japanese restaurants. The Kobe beef for the dish is cut thinly with a special machine, after freezing it first. Kobe is valued not only for the fact that it looks beautiful, but also for the quality. The fat here is very soft. When cooking, it spreads and gives the meat an indescribable delicate taste, as well as an open-work almost lacy structure. The Japanese call such meat not marble, but covered with hoarfrost. And the name shabu shabu means back and forth. The meat should be briefly dipped in boiling water, where pieces of mushrooms, herbs and Chinese cabbage are already floating. The result is something like a soup, from which vegetables and meat are taken in turn and dipped into the sauce. The taste is just magical. When making a steak, guests in a Japanese restaurant are shown the full history of the ordered piece of meat. Each animal is given a passport with a pedigree and a unique nose print. It's like people's fingerprints. This bull was called Fukumiya. Here are the names of his ancestors up to the 3rd generation. Wagyu with the highest class is A5 Miyazaki. This is a 2-time winner of the Wagyu Olympic Games. Games are held in Japan every 5 years between prefectures, where only the best beef becomes the winner. This beef will cost the buyer $100 and up per pound. There's a Japanese-style Sakame restaurant in New York where Wagyu beef is a favorite. The restaurant is famous for serving Wagyu as a Japanese sandwich, katsu sando, for $85. It's hard to say that there could be anything more in demand than the A5 Miyazaki. However, olive Wagyu is recognized as the rarest steak in the world. It is made from the meat of cattle raised on press-dried olive skins mixed into feed. The variety was developed in 2006 by a Japanese farmer named Masaki Ishii from Shiroshima who, frustrated by the amount of used olives he had to throw away each year, decided to do something about it. Pressed olive pumice left over from the oil-making process is very rich in nutrients, so Masaki figured there must be a way to put it to good use. The cows did not eat the unusual food, as the unusual texture and bitter taste of raw olives did not suit them at all. But Masaki didn't give up on his plan. Through trial and error, Masaki Ishii found that by lightly roasting, drying, and pressing used olives, he could make them much tastier for the cows. Adding spent olives to livestock diets changed the taste of the meat itself, and Japanese connoisseurs noticed this as soon as they tasted it. Obviously, the juiciness of the olives enhanced the taste of the meat, making the juicy steak even more delicious. It's impossible to deny that there's something special about olive Wagyu, but unfortunately it's something that just a few people get to taste. Due to the extremely limited production of these cattle, there are only about 2,200 such Wagyu in the world. Olive Wagyu is hard to find in Japan, let alone the rest of the world. Olive Wagyu is so rare that many restaurant owners in Japan have never even heard of it. Meat, as science tells us, should be a holiday. Often it is not worth eating. Well, sometimes. Why not? This is a real work of art and farmers and chefs. I recommend that you watch our video about sea cucumbers or trepangs, how they are harvested and why we are so expensive. This video is on the right. And that's all for today. If you liked the video about marble beef, please put your like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Bye.